Hello everyone, I'm Nax and we are back for part 3. In the last video, the friendship between Ino and Sakura and Naruto has been firmly established, the former two now knowing how much this friendship means to the latter. And even young as they are, Ino and Sakura now have an inkling of what Naruto's life must have been like before they met. Life would progress as normal. They'd go to school and hang out together afterwards. Sometimes at Sakura's home, sometimes at Ino's home, or sometimes at Naruto's small apartment when they wanted the thrill of being without adult oversight. That wouldn't be that often though, since they wouldn't be able to enjoy home-cooked meals or as many snacks that way. For Naruto especially, the so-called thrill of not having parental oversight would have zero appeal, and she'd look forward to every opportunity to spend time at the homes of one of her two friends. Since the last scene from part 1 happened in the middle of October and several weeks passed in part 2, we're coming close to the end of term. All three of the girls would wonder whether they would continue to see each other during the winter holidays, Sakura and Naruto especially. When this is brought up, I'm sure all three would give open invites to hang out in their homes if any of them felt like it. They'd give this offer before checking with their respective parents, but I doubt they'd object to it. I picture more than one sleepover at both Ino and Sakura's homes. The end of the semester would also bring with it a report for their performance at the academy. Though Sakura and Kennen at the end had the best scores for their written tests, in this early stage I think Ino would score much higher than her even in this. Ino, according to Sakura in the flashbacks, was better than her in just about every way, and I think this would apply to academic performances too. Naruto's scores was simply abysmal, of course, to both Sakura and Ino's concern. Ino would say something like, "Well, you did skip a lot of lessons in the beginning. And even now you don't seem to be paying attention all that much," Sakura would continue. "I'm trying. I saw you drawing pictures of the three of us holding hands in your textbook. I can't help it, it's all just so boring. It is not. Is too. Is not. It is too. It is not." Ino would fake a cough, causing both Sakura and Naruto to look at her. "I'm sorry, Sakura, but it kind of is." Sakura's face would fall in disappointment and a small rain cloud would appear above her. However, Ino would add, "You really should pay more attention, Naruto. If you don't do well in the academy, you'll never become a good ninja. Everyone knows that." "I promise not to skip any more classes, but it really is hard." "Well, maybe I can help," Sakura would say, cheered up at the thought of someone relying on her. And that's the reason why Naruto's scores would subsequently be a lot less terrible than before, and a lot better than the original Naruto's. Not just because of the peer pressure from Ino and Sakura to perform well and actually attend class, but because she now had someone she could ask questions of whenever she didn't understand something. For most children, and Naruto as well, asking clarification from a friend is a lot easier to do than to ask the same of a teacher. The one class in which Naruto wasn't universally terrible before now were the physical ones, and even in there I'd say Ino and Sakura surpassed her in everything except for endurance. This includes sparring matches. Remember, the original Naruto was considered to be the worst student, and this is still a ninja academy meant to create what are essentially child soldiers. You can't win or fail at that with just academics. Call me crazy, but I believe that the Naruto from the beginning of the show, before he even had the shadow clones, will be beaten in a fight by everyone else in that class, including Sakura and Ino. And I'm applying that same logic here in this alternate universe. That might be a bit of a stretch, that Sakura and Ino could beat Naruto in a spar. I mean, Naruto is less averse to fighting than either of them, so shouldn't that mean something? Well, yes, that does work in her favor, but fighting is more than just raw enthusiasm. Naruto has that in spades. What she doesn't have is technical knowledge. Ino and Sakura both have the advantage of having parents who are shinobi. We don't know what rank Sakura's parents were, though it's probably not very high, but even they will be able to help her with the basics. Naruto might be an enthusiastic brawler and has some experience, for a 6-year-old girl anyway, but she is a much poorer martial artist than either of the other two. Or to put it in another way, Ino and Sakura perform better under controlled classroom conditions, while Naruto would probably do better when confronted with actual violence. Here too, I believe having two friends whom she can ask advice of would be helpful. Now that we're talking about Naruto's fighting prowess and the development thereof, I'm going to disappoint some people by saying that she doesn't train that much more than the original Naruto did during the academy. Maybe even less. Naruto is being heavily influenced by both of her friends, and neither of them are training nuts. They do train, but not significantly more than everyone else in the academy. They are still children that simply want to do well in school, and are as of yet unaware of the dangers that are waiting for them in the future. What training she does do will probably be more effective now that she no longer has to figure everything out by herself, so there is that. Naruto would also end up joining Sakura in her original motivation to become as good as Ino is, a goal that is much easier than the original Naruto's desire to be as good as Sasuke Uchiha. We'll be talking about him soon, I promise. In the following spring we get one more scene that came from the original anime. The one in the flower field where Ino would compare herself to a cosmos flower. Sakura would say something disparaging about herself and Ino would compare her to a bud still waiting to bloom. Naruto would also be present here and ask what sort of flower she is. Ino would look puzzled and say that she isn't sure, she'll have to think about that one. Soon afterwards, Naruto would be briefly acting like her usual aggressive self, though this time the reason for it would be to defend Sakura from some of her old bullies. Ino, who saw this, would snap her finger and say, "I got it." "What? You asked what kind of flower you were, didn't you? Did you figure it out?" "Yes, I decided you were not a flower at all." Naruto would look disappointed. "Oh. You're more like a sapling of a tree, taking longer to grow than anything else but will one day stand taller than anything else, something sturdy and solid that others can lean on." "And some trees have beautiful blossoms too," Sakura would add. "Exactly." "Oh. Thank you." Naruto would grin. "Does this mean that I will grow stronger than you, Ino?" "Idiot, I was trying to be nice. I'll still be prettier than you are, but I'll live longer." What follows is a very long, very convoluted and very pointless discussion on which are better, trees or flowers, though Naruto would take Ino's words as a compliment and appreciate it as such. Now moving on to something else. In the previous video I said we'd be talking about Sasuke Uchiha, but we never got around to it. Let's discuss him now. It is no secret that Sasuke had a very large female fanbase among the students, and so we have to ask ourselves whether Naruto will be among those. I'm going to say yes, though she didn't act on it at first. He is very talented, and before the massacre took place I'd like to think he was even friendly. Popular as he was, I doubt Naruto would want to insert herself between all the other girls trying to strike up a conversation. Naruto would probably consider Sasuke be too high up in the social hierarchy to try and make friends. This doesn't immediately bring her into conflict with Ino or Sakura. The pin on that grenade isn't getting pulled until second year. I'd like to believe Ino and Sakura had at least 1 year together before that friendship fell apart in canon. Oh, and I rolled a 10-sided dice to determine Naruto's sexual orientation and she came out straight, as did Hinata. Sorry to disappoint those that were hoping for something else. So life would progress and Naruto's next evaluation in the academy would be better than the last one. She even managed to beat Ino in a spot already. I don't think such a rapid improvement is such a stretch. For all that Naruto was considered an underdog, and yes, he was the weakest one of the rookie 9 in the beginning, he did have a lot of latent potential, and so does Naruto. From the moment someone actually starts helping her, I believe she would improve by leaps and bounds. She isn't yet better than Ino at the end of the first year, but in the sparring ring those two are almost equally matched. Sakura would, at the same end of the year report, have matched Ino's theoretical knowledge. Now I do think Ino actually liked being the best and acting as the guide and leader of the other two. Now she has to take the other two seriously, not just as friends but as rivals. Their friendship would be tested, but it would be strong enough to endure some friendly competition. Especially with how tightly Naruto would cling to that friendship. In no way would she allow it to fall apart over something so minor. And I might as well tell you now, no, their friendship isn't going to fall apart over Sasuke. Naruto would probably be willing to just let either Ino or Sakura quote-unquote have him, if that meant they would stop fighting over this. The conversation would happen something like this. "I don't get it, Naruto, do you even like Sasuke?" "I do, but I just want us to stop fighting over him. You two are more important." "Aw, I know we mean a lot to you, and you mean a lot to us too, but you're being silly. You shouldn't let us hold yourself back from getting like the perfect boyfriend." "No hard feelings one way or the other?" "Nope, may the best kunoichi win." And if you're facepalming right now at their behavior, then I completely understand. Even I'm rolling my eyes at this and I'm the storyteller. These are young children though, and so are allowed to be silly. Though Naruto's interest in Sasuke is a bit more complicated than him looking cute and being good at anything he does except being a decent human being. After the massacre, Sasuke would be alone, and being all alone is something that Naruto would be familiar with. Naruto herself wouldn't be able to understand her own instincts in this manner. I mean, Sasuke is well liked by everyone. How could he be alone? Yet, somehow, when she looked at him, she could see a reflection of the darkness she used to be in. That, more than anything, would make her want to talk to him and make friends, more for his sake than hers. She wouldn't just try to have Sasuke spend time with her individually, but she tried to convince him to come hang out with Ino and Sakura, and even some of the other girls as well, all without success. With logic truly worthy of a 7-year-old, she'd figured that being around Sakura and Ino would be as good for him as it has been for her. She's still emotionally stunted compared to most, and she wouldn't really understand the difference between a crush or the desire to be friends with someone. Given all that, I think Sasuke would find Naruto as annoying as he'd find all the other girls. The only thing that stands out about her is that she isn't afraid to spar against him, even though she knows he's better than her and there's no way she can win. She wouldn't stand out that much though, especially with her social isolation not being nearly as bad in this version. She's a lot more like a normal student here. Naruto's instinct to know when someone is suffering from loneliness would also clue her in on Hinata's unhappiness. I'm going to say she'd definitely make an attempt to make friends, but Hinata is a lot more strictly controlled by her clan than Ino is. She wouldn't be allowed to visit the Hyuga compound, and Hinata wouldn't be allowed to linger long after school hours, so there would be no relationship beyond what the time they spent in the academy allows. Naruto would try to be friendly and encouraging, though I doubt that's enough to bring Hinata out of her shell, if you can even call it that. Unlike Sakura, Hinata's personality truly is very reserved even after gaining more confidence. I'm going to say that Hinata and Naruto would become at least friendly acquaintances. I'm also going to say that that particular friendship only gets off the ground after at least 2 years in the academy, when Naruto's social isolation has become a lot less noticeable. With her being better in class, and with her already having friends, it suddenly takes a lot less courage to approach her and talk to her. And I don't know why, but for some reason, whenever I picture Naruto trying to be friendly towards Hinata, I always picture Hinata calling her Naruto-senpai. It makes no sense since they are of the same age and in the same class, yet that image won't leave me. Even I know enough about Japanese custom to know that would be inappropriate, so it won't actually happen. All the same, the thought of it just makes me smile. Now that I think about it, this female version of Naruto is acting a lot more like Minato than Kushina as time goes by. There's still a lot of Kushina there, don't get me wrong, but she is capable of remarkable calmness as well. She's a lot more at peace with the world than the original Naruto was at this time. And that's where I'm going to leave things for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you again for part 4, when the audio will hopefully again be a little bit better. And if you have any thoughts about the Genin team placements, let me know. I've been changing my mind about that one off and on for more than a week already. Nikes out.